Streaming
Oh my goodness!
live on the YouTuber. And as soon as it
We
starts up,
are live. I don't have Bruce Buffer's voice, so I'm not going to try.
oh man, how crazy would that be? Let's go ahead and
Oh, it was still pretty fucking loud because I don't have my volume turned off. There we go. And Ixnay on the F word, eh? 2. We already got the 2.
What's up, y'all? Twitted. It is out on the tweet.
It's on Twitter.
Yeah, so how about 6:30 a.m. meeting on Thursday? I mean, that might as well be Wednesday
when
night.
You said that, I was like, oh, we can't go Wednesday night.
Sup,
That's
Brett?
not fair.
Yeah,
Because you won't be, at peak PETM.
True. True. I can get peak PETM tonight.
Oh, what's up, Brett? My man.
Yeah.
All right, start working on Indy next year, Brett. And I'm not talking about this race we just had. I'm talking about the 500. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about that.
At least just talk about it. I mean, that's there's no harm in talking about it.
Right. Oh man, got the drinks lined up.
Oh,
We
yeah,
just doing
go
hard
ahead.
liquor. Did you bring any beer?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got 5 of them down here.
Okay.
Yep.
10-4. So we're good
So-
there.
Got Wicked Weed and Bells, Sweetwater.
What's up, Jumpy Bob?
Represented. Yeah.
Ooh,
Wicked Weed,
VIP tickets for Carb Day. Look out
Bells. Yeah. Who's got VIP for what?
for Carb Day. Brett Morris does.
Okay.
Yeah, right?
That's the weekend before, though, right? So we have to make
Something like that.
Maybe if we start our 500 adventure just by going to the opening weekend,
Something.
all we'd have to miss is the All-Star race. Bummer.
Yeah, we'll do something.
That-
How's the
that thing
feed
was-
coming in for you?
For
Oh,
me?
Matter of fact, it just improved. Okay, we're good there.
Oh, you talking about video?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm seeing it in high def.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It was showing it in like low def for me, and I'm kind of like, what's going on? It's that Friday, he says. Well, that's pretty awesome. Roger.
Oh, it's the Friday before
What's
the
up, dude?
actual race.
Evidently.
Ooh.
Right.
That's right. Every time I adjust this, I never get it right. I think my hat's all crooked, but it's always crooked the opposite way that I adjust it. So
Oh,
then
yeah.
It's more crooked.
Yeah. I should try a little harder there. Let's see.
Okay. Yep. I had it right the second time. I got it right the second time. It's on enough delay that I can react to it and it not be the right reaction, and it just gets worse.
Colts cheerleaders, free food, free beer concert. Jeez.
All right. Well, you might as well just sign us up for that. I mean, at this point, you can sign me up for sure.
Yeah, I hear you, Roger, on high def. So last year, I don't know if you want to see seeing me in high def is bad enough. Seeing me in 4K is like counting nose hairs and stuff. And
Well, there's
Pimples.
almost no display platform where you can actually receive 4K.
just about. Yeah. What's up, Beast? Get you a drink. Absolutely. Yeah.
Woo! Yeah, damn sure make a drink. That's what we're doing here.
That's right.
That's the primary thing we're doing here. I'm breaking the fourth wall with my brand new water bottle / liquor road trip bottle from the great
Love it.
institution of technology here in Atlanta.
That's right. North Avenue Trade School. As we
Oh yeah, speaking
get
of
made
that,
fun of and then kind of took it as a term of endearment. What you got? Hi. Mitchers.
Speaking of Atlanta. Oh, was that Michter's?
Michter's.
I thought I went with the Hellbounder. Oh, I went with Michter's. Awesome.
Michter's. Okay.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
That's
It's
cool.
not great stuff. It's good stuff.
And the progeny says some Vidyet games will be before Christmas. Interesting.
Yeah, but you have to have a 4K TV, and 180% of y'all do not have one of those.
I don't know who doesn't do that. Well, if you've got one in the last year, I think most of them or a lot of them are 4K now.
Yeah, I agree.
Um,
but who's bought a TV in the last year?
I don't know. It's one of those. That's one of those things.
Why
man.
would you buy a 4K TV when you can buy a 1080p for like half of what it was 5 years ago?
Right. Well, not only that, but TVs went through when they went to high def and widescreen. That was like that was the paradigm shift. And then they tried to do another paradigm shift with 3D, and we all said no.
No.
And now they're trying to do another one with 4K, and maybe that'll catch on, but everybody's TV's got to die before that happens, you know? Like, I'm not going to go buy a new 4K TV. You know what I mean? I've already got
all the things.
I've got 2 high-def TVs downstairs, 50-plus inches.
I mean, I've got a box that's barely bigger than my phone that can deliver a 720p picture to my now 10-year-old 720 TV, and it's like, it's a decent picture. You could live with it if it was your only TV for, a brief period of time.
Yeah.
But, I mean, as long as Comcast is content to broadcast in 1080i or 720p, why in the hell would you get a 4K TV if the primary reason why you watch television is for live sports?
Well, I think that's becoming a smaller sector of people too.
Oh, it absolutely
because if you can stream 4K on Netflix, I mean that's what a lot of people are doing now. They just watch.
Ain't no football games on Netflix.
I watch more YouTube now than I do TV. If you discount sports, like I'm watching more stuff on YouTube.
Oh, I'm not
because it's specialized.
I'm not arguing with you.
Oh no,
what I'm saying is
you are.
I care more about live sports than I care about anything else.
Yeah.
You could take all the rest of it away from me. Give me my live sports, and I'll live through television service.
Oh, so before we go live, have you seen Jessa Reed? This Is Not Happening.
So that name just popped up on my radar maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Who is she and what?
So she's a comedian. I mean, obviously, she was on This Is Not Happening. But she was a meth head for like 6 years.
So she
was meth head.
She was on Bert Kreischer's podcast.
Okay.
That's how I heard of her.
She has so her This Is Not Happening is, I mean, she's got like fake teeth and all this because she was that into it, and she's all right.
She really liked it.
She's 36 and from like when she was 21 through 28 or something. No, because she's been sober for 12 years. So she was on it for whatever it is. And it's a hilarious, but also like disgusting and vile and everything. It's really intriguing, is what it is more than anything. Like I was focused more than I was laughing even, but it was also really funny. I'll spoil one part because this is.
Oh no, you absolutely can, because I heard. I mean, she did 2 hours on Bert's show.
Her delivery is fantastic. She goes, well, you get into it and you're like, well, I'm just snorting it. I'm not like those addicts who are shooting it. So the first time I shot meth, blah, blah, blah. That's like her next breath was. And so the first time I shot meth, you're like, oh my God, okay. And then she keeps going deeper and deeper and deeper. And
oh yeah.
It's the title of it is Meth P.
Meth P, like P-E-E?
P-E-E.
Meth P.
Yeah, Meth P.
Evidently Meth P is strange.
Yeah. So, evidently she got started by, like, she was trying to do some coke, and somebody gave her meth instead, and she was like, did you just give me meth? That was not coke. Ooh, I like meth. Like, that's how it started. Like, oh, geez, this is already uncomfortable. Like, this is crazy.
Gracious.
So, anyway, there's the type of comedy that me and Sherman listen to if you're not familiar.
Yeah, it gets out there a little bit.
Yeah,
a little bit sometimes. I mean, Theo Vaughn, dude, that kid's hilarious.
Oh my gosh,
he's got one of the worst coke stories ever.
Right? And these are meth stories. You don't how do you come out of meth and become a comedian? That's impressive.
That is a feat not often accomplished.
Yeah. So, anyway. You ready to get this started?
Might as well start recording, then I can start making sure I don't cuss.
Yep. All right, y'all. Ready to do it? PTM Posse, thanks for joining. Here goes nothing. Recording now.
Whoop, whoop. All the way up.
Welcome, y'all! That's right. This is the Pregame Engineer Tailgate Mayor Racing Podcast, episode number 162. Today's Tuesday, September 11, 2018. I'm Tailgate Mayor Rusty Wallace. I'm in the PETM podcast studio with Pregame Engineer Andrew Sherwin. What's up, dude?
Well, so we're going on a Tuesday today, and it's kind of an important day, so we'll talk about that in a minute. But we were going to have a guest. Y'all, that you would have loved.
We'll talk about that in a minute, too.
So
we'll give you the inside scoop on all that. Before we do, y'all know what the deal is. This podcast is sponsored by you. That's right. You go to patreon.com/PETM, join the What You Drink Club for as little as $1 a month, and get that free koozie. Best part is, every cent in 2018, we're donating to sponsoring drivers once again. So join the PETM Posse today. Be a part of the sport you love. This week's show is brought to you by our official sponsors at the $5 and up per month level. That is Laura Henshaw, Aaron Bearden, Robert Keplinger, Tony Saul, Kobe McClam, Eric Kepner, Ryan Kiefer, Marilyn Best, Patrick Cleary, Jeff Brown, Brandon Crowd, Kathleen McDonald, Stacey Wright, Brandon Carl, Billy Workman, Rika Porter, Jumpy Bob and Les Miller, Tommy Witt, Mark Wiley, Julie Bosley, and welcome to the PETM Posse, John Pearson. Thank you, John.
That's awesome. Noon.
Joining.
We got a noon.
Yeah. You know how when you're playing golf and badly, but there's that one time, as soon as you hit the ball, like you're on the green, you've got maybe a 12-foot putt, it's got some break in it, maybe a little bit of downhill, right? Mm-hmm. As soon as it comes off the club, you go, oh, that's going in. This is a freaking basketball hoop. There's no way.
Yep.
So paralleling that to doing that read right there, every once in a while I'll hit the exact right breath, and I'll go, the official sponsor at the $5 and up per month level, Laura Henshaw. And as soon as I read that first name, I'm like, we're in. We're in. Yeah, this is basketball hoop. This is going in, baby. So that felt good. Sherwin, let's address the elephant in the room here. Not only, so in the 3 years of doing this, I think this is the first time we've done a show on 9/11. And not only that, it's Tuesday, September 11th today. And I got to tell you, man, I was a little... 17 years later, I was 19 at the time, so almost, my entire life again. I was not sure if it was okay to hoot and holler and scream and yell and play the song and all that as we started this thing. That's how much something like this affects you. If you're, I guess cognizant enough as either an adult or whatever, when it happened, that 17 years later, you're still not sure if it's okay. How crazy is that?
Yeah, so, I'm going to start by taking my hat off, and I'm just going to tell my brief little story about that day because it's not very long. It was one of the so it was early in the semester. Obviously, we'd only been back in school maybe, 10 days, 11 days? Mm-hmm. I guess 9/11, we'd probably been in school. This is probably our third week of school.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. And I had an 8 a.m. class, which... as it turns out, I seldom went to, but I decided to go that day. I had a 9:35 class.
9:35, yep.
I decided to skip. So as a young engineering, a 20-year-old engineering student, I had a civil engineering taught deformable bodies class. And then I skipped my macroeconomics class to walk back to the house because I just was not having it that day. And I walk into the social quarters at our fraternity house, and half the house is up and the theater's full, and it's like the weirdest thing I've ever seen for that time of day.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was kind of like I walked in the door, it slammed shut. They all look at me, and I go, what in the hell's going on? They go, get over here. This is real. Yeah,
yeah. I was on the same campus. I wasn't in the fraternity yet. I was a sophomore, not in the fraternity yet, but that happens. But I was walking to my computer systems class, 9:35. I had the 9:35 class.
So we probably crossed paths and didn't even know it.
Probably so. What had happened was my dorm had some ants in it, and they sent the ant guy to come take care of it. And as I'm leaving, he goes, "You see what's going on in New York, man?" I'm like, "No, what's going on?" He's like, "Man, some planes hit buildings and stuff. I mean, things are getting crazy." I was like, "Oh, weird." Like, you don't know what to do or how to respond. I'm already leaving to go to class. I'm halfway to class, and my professor's walking in the opposite direction. I go, "Hey, Bill, Bill Leahy, professor at Georgia Tech. Bill, what's going on, man?" And he goes, "Class canceled. Go inside." Like, nobody knows what's going on at this point, We've got the biggest, Atlanta has the tallest building in a capital city in the U.S., believe it or not, the Bank of America building. And we're all looking up at that like, what's going to happen next? We don't know what's going on. I mean,
not only that, but
he's like, get inside.
Yeah, the CDC had been identified as a top 10 terrorist target.
Yeah,
which is
CDC
in Atlanta.
Atlanta, absolutely, absolutely. So what a crazy day! And of course, then you go back and I mean, you're just glued to the TV for 2 days or whatever it is. I don't even remember the rest of the week. You know, being
it's a total blur. I remember more
like,
about walking back from class,
same,
and watching what happened on television than I do any of the next 5 days.
So I wasn't sure if it was appropriate to hoot and holler and yell and scream, and then I had a thought, and I said, you know what? If we can't do that, then the people who are committing these things, they win, right?
That's right.
This is America. We're going to sit here. We're going to talk about NASCAR. We're going to have our fun. We're going to remember those who passed away in that, those years ago. But by God and all the disciples, we're here to have some fun.
Yeah,
you know?
We don't have to shut up and be quiet and mourn in solitude or in silence just because somebody else committed an act of atrocity. We're Americans. We're loud. We're boisterous. We have fun. We love our sports. We love our booze. We're going to do all of those things.
So let's kick it off, Sherwin. What are we drinking tonight?
All right. Well, so right off the top, we've got this Jim Beam white label that we're awfully fond of, and Atlanta product, Coca-Cola Classic deliciousness. Later, when we get a little bit deeper, we're going to get into this Michter's small batch, which doesn't suck. And over here in the cooler, I've got some Wicked Weed, and I've got some Sweet Water, and I think I've got a Bell's in there, too. So we got a little mix.
Yes, sir.
Of the beer, the hoppy stuff.
Celebrating America and freedom, Jim Beam, Coca-Cola, right here. So Stacy Coleman says she was at an Air Force conference in Stone Mountain, Georgia, and they made all of them change out of their uniforms in case they were a target. I mean, that's how, going back to that, wow. I mean, that's how nobody knew what was going on stuff. That's how crazy.
Yeah.
So thank you, Roger. Amen. Or Beast. Amen. Appreciate that. Deeper in the ditch. Oh yeah, we get we're trying to be respectful right now. We'll get there, Roger, for sure. Sherwin, we mentioned a guest possibility. Last week we even said we're really excited about the possibility of this guest. Y'all, as it turns out, this is how cool this guest is. And I mean, all our guests are cool, but how unique I would say this guest is in that the fact that the Indy race was postponed from Sunday to Monday meant that this guest was not able to join us today.
Both Indy races.
Because,
as a matter of fact.
Yeah. There you go. A little hint, clue. But the fact that happened meant that things got pushed back and stuff didn't work out right. And so we're left talking to each other good. Again, that is.
Well, which we don't hate. And believe it or not, some of y'all actually were like, you know what, I kind of liked it was just the two of you.
Oh, yeah.
So don't stoke our ego too much, or next thing you know, we won't have any guests anymore.
Oh, we're we run out of stuff to talk about, and then we've got to look around the room, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. I say all that, and Sherwin, you showed up with a shirt today that I said I had never, when you walked in, I'm like, that is a very specific shirt, and I love it. And y'all can see it. It says I'm a jacket on Saturdays and a falcon on Sundays. So that's really cool.
Atlanta through and through, right over here.
I love that. I
like your shirt too, by the way.
My Davey Allison. Hell yes. So I did not want to wear any of the throwback shirts that I had not worn yet to a race prior to Darlington happening. Now that Darlington has happened, I'm busting out all of them, man. This is fun. It's so much fun to wear these things.
Yeah, I can't wait to wear my Junior Johnson shirt.
Yeah. So I got the Davey Allison rolling, so I'm excited about that. Also, super excited to get talking. Dude, we got so much to talk about. We got Indy, we got playoffs, we got playoffs?
Playoffs?
We got Vegas, we got a lot to do, and so let's start doing it by tearing it down. We're going to the report card. First period, dude, and this is a heavy hitter just to start. We're doing the over-under or pass-fail, whatever you want to say. And the question is, we'll dive into it here in a moment, but the question that you posed was, have we seen Casey Kane's last race?
I tell you what, when I read what I saw today, I started to kind of question, it's really easy to go into that, I don't know, doomsday sort of frame of thought where you're like, all right, so he's out of the race for one race, and we're still trying to sort out some healthcare stuff. And now all of a sudden they're willing to announce on a Tuesday that he's not going to be in the next three. Well, if he's not going to be in the next 3, why would he race in the next 7?
Other than farewell tour
just
stuff,
like or just personal pride that I want to finish. I started something with Levine Family Racing, and I want to finish it.
Yeah,
and he has that amount of pride. But like, if he really has a health situation that's causing him to not be able to manage body temperature, we know he's been a super athlete his whole life.
Right.
So now all of a sudden there's a problem. Like, is it worth the risk to finish out the season with Levine? Or Levine, sorry if I'm saying that wrong. I apologize. I know we have some friends in that circle that actually follow what we're doing here. It's not intentional to mispronounce it if I am. But so why would you risk, as a 38-year-old dad, why would you risk like something way worse than just getting out of the car and feeling like crap?
Well, if as we may all recall with the Indy win last year, remember he got out of the car, he did like a little celebration, and then he sat down.
He was in big trouble.
Like he was
in big trouble.
Yeah, yeah. So this ain't like something that just creeped up on him this year. This has been an obvious ongoing thing. At the time, nobody knew that was going on, so it was like, oh, look how much he exerted himself. But now we're learning that it's more and more of a thing. In retrospect, I'm a little bit surprised because was he already committed to Levine Racing this time last year? I can't remember.
It was close to this time last year.
I'm a little surprised.
It was right around this time
that he decided to keep running even into this year. It would have shocked me then if he'd have said, "This is my last year. I'm done." And then me and you would have probably done some hating on Hendrick. You know what I mean? Like,
right?
Oh well, he's not with Hendrick anymore, and they kicked him out. And now that forced him into retirement or whatever. But health wise, that might have been a thing.
So I wonder if we're talking about Indy last year, and what we're gonna talk about this, probably on and off for next however many number of years that Casey's stamp of the end of the career win is going to be the Brickyard 400, which is very fitting for someone who grew up in wing sprint cars and dreamed of racing in Indy, and just happened to be that NASCAR was a faster route to the highest level of racing in America. So you certainly couldn't fault him for taking that route. But the thing that concerns me is, like, I start to think back to Rick Mast now that we know who he is and how his career ended, and I wonder if was there something that happened at Indy? Did he hit something just hard enough to weaken a crush panel to where the rest of the race he's just got carbon monoxide just piling in his face? Because we know that's what ended Rick Mast's career was a super saturation of carbon monoxide poisoning, and it took them months to figure out what was wrong with him.
Yeah, yeah. And now he's sharp as a tack. Loving it.
And now he's hilarious he's awesome. And has a great podcast with his son, Ricky Jr. And,
yeah. Always fun to listen to that. Something very telling for me. I was really looking forward, not that I thought that Casey was going to win, but just for the prestige and honor of him racing Richmond again. I was really looking forward to that, and the fact that he's going to have to miss that, I'm not blaming him at all, but instead saying that's a big tell in that he can't book in that career at Richmond. He's missing out on Richmond. That's a big deal. Have we seen his last race? I think he comes back. I think he like you said, wants to fulfill his obligation / promise / honor with Levine. But I think I would think as a racer he wants to race in Homestead and walk out on his own terms. Which is what we talked about with Dale Jr. Walking out on your own terms instead of walking out when the health says that you or the doctor says you can't get in another race car the rest of your life. You know what I mean? So I think there's some amount of pride, whether it's a good idea or not. I don't know, and that's going to be up to him.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on that. I think the whole Richmond deal is, for those who don't know, Casey damn near won a race as a rookie at Richmond, and then he won his first race at Richmond when he was a sophomore racer, if you will. And we know they probably had something prepared for him being his last Richmond race because that's the way racetracks do. And as far as we know, despite the fact that we've had some other breaking news regarding the one car, Casey's the only guy that said, "Hey, I'm retiring after this year. I'm done with full-time Cup competition." So Richmond was going to do something, being that his first race win was there.
Sure. So let's move on to second period. Indy on a Monday. Indy on a Monday.
Double Indy on a Monday.
Double Indy on a Monday. I watched as much as I could at work in between meetings and stuff, and then with about 100 to go, with about 60 to go. It was 100 in, about 60 to go, and it was like 3:30. I look around, no more meetings on the schedule. I went, I'm out of here. See y'all later, and came home and caught the rest of it from there. And boy, was I in for a treat. That was one of the best finishes I've seen all year, Sherwin.
To mind the cup race?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
just in terms of drama, in terms of lead change, in terms of what's going on.
You had a pass with
strategy.
About 2 1/3 lap to go, I guess.
And the bumping and banging with Boyer and with McMurray. What an ordeal. That was crazy.
I missed some of that. My afternoon got a little weird.
Got a little sideways?
Yeah, I mean, I had it on, but I wasn't always able to have my eyes glued to it. I didn't, I honestly, so somebody asked me today what I thought about the race, and I gave an inaccurate assessment based on what Jeff Gluck's fan base is. I said I thought, his post-race poll was probably going to end up somewhere around 50-50. And end up, when I went and voted in it, it was like 75-25, which is good. 75 to the good.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting. We have all of the, I'm trying to quickly glance. I don't see it there. So we can talk briefly about the Hamlin deal and how he was obviously upset. He was, very excited to win that race. It would have been his first race win of the season. It would have been his first Brickyard 400. He had led a significant portion of the last segment of that race, and then a crash between two cars that I don't think he described it as well as he could have, but you could understand why he described it the way he did. And, we've seen that 96 be a problem 2 weeks in a row, late in a race, racing for what I joked about on Twitter is 90th place. They're racing for 29th or 28th or whatever. It's inconsequential, especially in a race that is going to determine starting order for the playoffs, and especially when, for somebody like Denny, that was going to be his signature win of the season because it was going to be his only win thus far, and everybody wants to win the Brickyard.
Yeah. And not only is that the signature win of the season, that's a notch on the bedpost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In terms of being able to win that
career
race. Yeah, exactly.
Like it's a flag in the career timeline.
But, if you break it down, he was on strategy, right? He was on staying out when others went and got tires.
He was on clean air strategy.
When you are on strategy, you are betting on certain things happening and not happening, and one of those is that these back market teams are not going to wreck out, and that happened. And in the moment, he was frustrated. He has since kind of said it was a pretty heartbreaking ordeal for that all to happen. So maybe he's a little more level-headed and not as much in the moment. In the moment, he was pretty negative toward that end of the garage. Which I think he garnered a lot of negative attention for that too, in that, hey, if we're not here, you're not here, brother. You know what I mean? That sort of feeling from the garage, I felt like was pretty unanimous, and either he backed down off of that, or again, it's hard to blame people for in the heat of the moment. Me and Sherwin have been in screaming matches, and then next thing you know, let's crack a beer. Oh, dude, I need another beer. Like,
well, so it's one of those things where
I don't know.
Yeah, I've obviously a lot of times I've been critical of the guys that make asses of themselves when they get a microphone in their face. But at the same time, I'm also very quick to follow up with, this is what we've asked from our competitors. We have asked them to be honest. We have forced them to be honest beyond their control because we stick a microphone in their face 5 minutes after they got out of a 140-degree race car, and they just lost what they thought was going to be a win.
Yeah.
And you expect them to say something very cordial. Why would you expect that?
Right.
Like,
what do you think he thought?
What did you think he thought? Did you think he had some progressive ideas about how this race was going to go? So I know that people will probably say I'm two-faced in that respect, but it's not. I'm offering you the opinion of a race fan in that I don't like Denny, and that's fine. But I do want him to say what's on his mind when they stick a microphone in his face, because like people are ignoring the fact that we want personality right up until the point where they say, or somebody we don't like says something we really don't like, and then it's like what's the point of having personality? What about what happened over the past 24 hours has encouraged Denny Hamlin to say exactly what's on his mind when he gets out of a race car?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
But he totally should be encouraged for saying this. And he should totally be encouraged for saying, yeah, heat of the moment, I said something I probably didn't mean. I'm probably going to call Jeffrey and say, hey, man, I talked some smack about you. You know, I didn't win the race that I thought I probably could win if y'all hadn't done that. So, I'm sorry if that makes you feel a certain way.
And P.S., that lick that Jeffrey took, did you see that replay and stuff?
I didn't actually.
Oh my! Yeah, that might have been.
I heard it was huge.
That might have been the biggest in the Cup this season. Who was it in Xfinity a few months ago? Whenever it was, there was a big one in Xfinity, but this might have been the biggest Cup.
That Priest took a huge one in the first race of the day.
Well, okay, I didn't see that actually because I wasn't able to watch the first race, but this might have been the biggest Cup wreck just in terms of car hits. It was the perfect storm of the car was able to just get over the other car and hit the wall, and I mean it was yard sale. It was it was one of those that the crew gets down there quick, window nets down, Jeffrey steps out eventually. You can tell he's kind of shaking, and it's like, okay, today wasn't the day for the thing, whether it be serious injury or worse. So it was one of those you were really upset to see that kind of wreck and really happy to see him come out of the other end. But with that, and I saw, who was it, Jumpy Bob in here said that the 11 car was passed fair and square by the 2, and I think the 11 will tell you that today. And even in the heat of the moment, Denny would say, yeah, that was a fair pass. What he took issue with was the events leading up to the pass, which was those backmarker cars. So I don't know. He didn't stick to his guns on that comment of the backmarker cars are a bunch of idiots or whatever. So it's hard for me to blame him too much, even though, like Sherwin said, Sherwin's been on the not Denny Hamlin fan train for a long time. I think some actions, more contemporary actions of his over the course of this year have made me less and less of a fan. But I don't think this instance is going to affect that one way or another. Sure.
And I want to take a real quick second to address Roger's comment about what Bubba said when he got out of the car, because I was with this 100%. Because like Bubba, like his brake lines cut, and it either it was because he cut a tire and it cut the brake lines or whatever. Anyway, his car just turned to the left on its own. Like he didn't do that. Like everybody thought initially that he was diving down into the grass to hit the inside wall because he knew he had lost his brakes. Like he mashed the pedal and it just went to the floor. That wasn't the case. The thing just did that all on its own. But then he bounced around a little bit and mostly stayed out of the track, and then he got clobbered way into it, and he's like, yeah, we got destroyed about an hour and a half after the whole thing started. And and I was like, I'm glad you said it that way, because whoever spots for that, I think it's the 52 that hit him, it was like, what were y'all doing? What? Like, how do you not know?
Yeah.
Like, you're last.
An hour and a half after.
Just hit the brakes, right, my man.
Right. Or just don't even hit the brakes. Come off the gas.
And go high. Like, it was absolutely ridiculous. And I understand why spotters lose their minds over stuff like this. The guys like Spotter Brett and TJ Majors that are really good, Eddie DeHaan, that, like, lose their minds when, like, these cars come piling in way late. It's like, one of these days you guys are going to be the problem outside of just tearing up cars. Because you just tore your car up, which didn't need to get torn up, didn't have to get torn up. You tore it up because you're an idiot. And then, like, maybe Bubba's chassis was salvageable. It's not now.
Right. Good point. Well, Sherwin, for the second week in a row, and I'm going to turn the volume up right here. Y'all might want to, if you got headphones in,
back off a little
bit. Deal with it. But this is about to happen, y'all. Oh, the grandpa fart! Oh, I just looked at it on the little thing that shows me how much
like wide
it's
open,
deep into the red. That was a good one, dude. For the first time in PTM history. We made not only back-to-back calls, but back-to-back calls with the same person. I'm pretty proud of that one. I'm going to be – so you know what that means for Vegas, and I mean I'm already – I won't say it officially.
Oh, you're pushing your chips in
right now.
You're just letting it ride,
dude. When you
gotta let it ride.
When you roll 2 strikes, you're going for turkey. You
gotta roll. You gotta let it ride.
So
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you make that pick.
Thank you.
'Cause 2 in a row. I think 2 in a row means we have a new rule. New rule at the PETM podcast.
I'm in.
If you pick the winner 2 weeks in a row, you get to pick first.
Mm-hmm.
And we do have an unprecedented situation where you picked the winner 2 weeks in a row, and it was the same.
And it was
guy.
the same dude. Yeah.
So, it's almost like if you get a top 5 at Vegas, you probably should get to go first again. Just one of those. I'm on a heater.
Right. It's on a heater. I love it.
No, I love it. So, reason why I wore this hat is I want to support the teammate of the person that you have let it ride with. I'm going Ryan Blaney.
Okay, so we're doing the picks now.
We just did, I think.
F it.
Yeah, we skipped her up a little bit.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Let's talk about him here in a minute then.
Young Ryan Blaney.
Pouring me a drink while we're at it.
With all the hair.
With all the hair.
And the awesome camo hat that I bought at Darlington, which I can't take off my head. I love it.
I was going to say, and you're sporting that new hat. You know what? You remember we were at the trailers, or at the haulers, and we were looking at merchandise, and I just didn't see something that popped for me. I wanted some Blaney stuff. I really wanted some Bubba stuff, wanted some Blaney stuff. Just wasn't speaking to me at the time. The unfortunate part is right now your hat is just talking to me, man. That hat is awesome. That is a fantastic.
It's soft too.
Like don't tell me that. Let me feel of it.
It's like soft.
Oh yeah! Wow! Look at that material. Oh man, and it's the camo, everybody's favorite color.
Trucker back,
yeah.
Trucker back black.
So the hat jealousy that you had of me, actually for this hat that I'm wearing right now, of Eldora
hat, yeah.
When we went there, now I'm paying it back here.
It's all good.
So let's go third period, dude. Speaking of hats, we're gonna go hats off for the Bandit last week.
I can't believe I forgot to write this into the notes, but I'm glad you remembered.
Mm-hmm.
I live tweeted Smokey and the Bandit on Sunday night. It's a huge deal for me and for you, I know. I can recognize parts of the movie based on roads that I grew up driving by with my parents when I was a child. And, Mundy's Mill for sure. There's that big point where he does that. The very first huge power slide where there's like a 2-lane blacktop and there's like one road, it's like a T, and there's a little bit of a hill, and he comes in and just does this massive power slide and then comes back and goes down a dirt road. That dirt road is Mundy's Mill Road. It is now very much paved, and there is a Mundy's Mill High School that is like a half a mile down the road from there. So it's all built up, but that when I was a kid, that was exactly what was in the movie.
Yeah, and the stash, dude. There's never going to be another stash. There's about 4 iconic stashes. I need another hat so I can take it off just for the stash.
There's about 4 iconic stashes in Hollywood, and Burt Reynolds' Bandit character is one of them, without a doubt. It's Quigley Down Under, Tom Selleck.
Yeah,
and it's what's his butt, Elliot.
Sam Elliott. Yeah.
Those are top 3. Those are
vibes.
Rushmore. What's the 4th Rushmore mustache?
You know what? I know it's not well known, but what's his butt from the Gold Rush show that we used to watch? Thurber. Jim Thurber.
Yes. That's your audience nominee there.
Yes.
Thurber.
Yes. He has y'all, if you look up Jim, Jim Thurber, Thurber, I think.
Yep.
On the internet or whatever, he has a billboard of an upper lip, and he has painted it over with overlap with a mustache. It's one of the greatest mustaches on earth. Yeah, I know he's not like a well-known celebrity or whatever, but holy mackerel!
No, but that's definitely a Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, I like what you say. That's the audience pick.
We got Burt Reynolds, Tom Selleck, Sam Elliott, and Jim Thurber. I'm good with it.
I love it. So with that, did you see J.J. Yaley's car this weekend.
He did have the Gold Firebird
Yes,
on the hood.
So good for Golden Tee for that sponsorship and the Firebird paint scheme. That was really cool. To come up with that kind of last second like that was really cool.
Oh, yeah. Especially the matte hood. That looked awesome.
I'll tell you what, every time that I read Burt Reynolds' age, I didn't believe how old he actually was. So it's not like this is some young guy, it's not super unexpected, I guess, based on age, because he was like in his 80s or something, wasn't he?
82.
82. Like
Roger makes a good point. Wilford Brimley did have
Wilford
one hell
Brimley.
of a mustache.
Wilford Brimley had the fat guy's mustache that we all
like
aspire to.
The gray fat guy mustache.
Yeah, like, you know what? All these other guys are these skinny-ass dudes. Hey, the dude holding down the fort for the big guys.
Yeah.
Wilford Brimley.
On a horse.
Great call,
selling
Roger.
diabetes medication.
Diabetes. So, good on you. Nice work, Roger. I love it. With that, Sherwin, let's go to fourth period, and we're going to spend some time here in fourth period talking about playoffs. Playoffs. It's that time. The playoff field's set. We've got our first three races. I mean, y'all, if this hasn't like sunk in the minds yet, because it only just did for me recently, even though I knew the schedule for the first three races, but I hadn't really thought about the schedule for the first. You know what I mean? Like,
right? No, it's.
But you're thinking Vegas. Okay, mile and a half, call it cookie cutter or whatever, but this is what NASCAR is the mid-size super speedway thing. Richmond.
Especially in the playoffs.
Playoffs? So, Richmond, all right, cool. We get a little bit of a...
Short tracking.
Yeah, short tracking. This is fun. That's a good deal. Roval.
Hey-o.
What in the hell's going to happen now? So, these next three races are complete and utter mess.
Well, they're an exact... microcosm of what NASCAR racing is, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got a 1.5 cookie cutter, we got a short track, and we got a road course.
I don't hate it, as it turns out.
I don't hate it.
This is what we've asked for, isn't it?
I think
what
so.
we all
I think
said we wanted?
At least us younger people have been asking for something like this.
Yeah.
Trick it up a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So, getting into some questions, Andrew Cansian at KHANTZIAN. What do you think will be the prominent rivals during the playoffs? Playoffs? I can't say playoffs without
that
saying
word.
It.
Rivals.
I mean, so here's the thing for me is everybody's going to be watching the big three. That's what's going to be, that's going to be the show, is the big three. So if you want to call them rivals or if you want to call them, front runners or whatever, I don't see any reason why they're not, and we'll get into this in a minute, but they're going to be the ones who are talked about, and so that's going to be whether they are rivals, which they're not. They're just happen to be the top three runners. The fact that they're all on different teams, I think, is intriguing too. So we don't have like two Hendrick cars and JGR or something. So I think that's cool.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. I think NASCAR as a whole is over obsessed with the word rival. There's only 40 competitors on the track. There are only 16 in the playoffs. We don't need the word rival for there to be
rivalries.
Like college football has rivalries. There's 128 teams, and you have close proximity. Like you don't like rival. It's not a thing anymore. I don't understand why NASCAR itself, even the broadcasting bodies and the .com and the companies, they push this rivalry thing. It's not a thing. They don't let them do it.
Yeah. I mean, you could say like Brad and Kyle, but they've kind of grown out of that at this point too. You know what I mean?
Why wouldn't the big three just naturally be like? Why do we have to use the word rival? I don't get it.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense to me.
Well,
the Falcons and the Saints are rivals.
Yes.
Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch are not rivals.
Right.
They're guys that race every single competition together on the same racetrack.
Are you pooping on Cansian?
Yeah, a little bit.
I was wanting you to say no, and I was going to back you up. But if you're going to say yes, hell yeah. Cansian, what the hell?
Yeah. Has Christian bought another motor yet? I mean...
Oh, no, that's funny. I was expecting you to say no, and I was going to be like, I agree. Fords and Yodas, and then there's Chase Elliott, and then there's some Fords and Yodas. So we could talk
are
about
Ford and Yoda rivals? Like,
Right.
we're not talking about that.
Right. So, if we're talking manufacturer, if we're talking people, I don't know. So, interesting. I don't know. Interesting. Good stuff. Mick Rose at GoDucks42_Mick. Of the first 3 rounds of the playoffs, which round do you believe has the most difficult set of tracks? Now, I haven't memorized, like, the rounds and which ones are in it, so I'm going to have to look.
I don't understand necessarily what he means by difficult.
Well, so take it to however you want to translate it. How about that?
Well, I would say the first because nobody's ever raced on the Roval.
Right.
Certainly not with 40 cars.
Right. So after that, we've got Dover, Dega, Kansas. I don't think that's. And then there's Martinsville, Texas, and Phoenix. So, yeah, first round by far.
Yeah, because nobody knows what the hell's going to happen at Charlotte.
Right. Nobody knows what's going to happen in Charlotte. And the other 2, those aren't easy races by any means. So
I mean, Dover's tough, but Jimmy's won half of them since he started racing.
Right, exactly.
So what do you want? Same with Martinsville, to be honest. I mean, Dover and Martinsville being in the same. Actually, no, you said Martinsville is in the last segment, right? Martinsville, Texas, Phoenix.
Is that what I said? Martinsville, Texas, Phoenix. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So they actually did the rest of racing a favor, not putting Dover and Martinsville in the same segment,
so that you didn't guarantee a Jimmy Johnson.
Well, I mean, but Dover used to be in the first segment, so they really never were in the same segment. So that's not like it's not like they finally fixed it to where Jimmy can't move on. Well, I mean, it remains to be seen what Hendrick's going to do in the playoffs. And what Jimmy and I can do, but I mean, because they're going to be people like us that are recording just like us tonight, tomorrow, yesterday, Thursday, whenever. They're going to say Jimmy's going to be one of the guys that gets knocked out in the first round because they've shown no speed. I'm like, I wouldn't bet on that.
Right. So I think the Roval puts such a wild card in the whole situation that wherever you place Roval, that is the hardest one because all these other tracks we kind of know what to expect in terms of racing profile and everything else. We just don't know what's going on.
Well, there's a wild cardy track in each segment. I think that's what they were trying to do.
Is that what they're going for
Roval's a wild card in the first. Talladega's a rival card in the second. And I would say you could consider Martinsville a wild card, especially based on what we've seen in the past. The Kansas stuff, the Boyer thing that we saw in person. Like Martinsville can get kind of weird if there's a late restart.
Well, we talked about Dega, though, right after we went. And saying that, like, it's not exactly something that in the last lap they go 6 wide and tearing up cars to the finish. Pretty much, if you lead the penultimate lap, if you're white flag, you're probably going to win the race too. Like, there's enough ability to block and get some clean air and make it work.
Yeah, nowadays nowadays it's about getting the lead off turn 2 on the penultimate lap, leading that lap, and then if you can get out in front, you just bob and weave.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 or 3 drivers really have to want to work together and hope y'all can pass the leader because you have to bump draft. You have to push draft.
Yeah.
And you have to hope NASCAR doesn't black flag you for doing it.
Right.
And that's bottom line.
Do you think NASCAR would ever black flag anybody on the last lap like that in a playoff race? But I don't think they would.
Now that Junior doesn't race anymore? Maybe. Yes, I said that. Being a Junior fan, I said that still.
Fair.
I think it depends. I think it would be an absolute judgment call. It'd be like, what's a catch in the NFL? We don't know. Nobody knows anymore. Mm-hmm. So what's a black flag on the last lap at Talladega? I don't know. Nobody knows.
Nobody knows anymore. That's a good point. So, of course, we have to do this. Brandon Crowd at Lap Traffic PC. What's up, Brandon? He says, which 4 drivers fail to transfer to the round of 12? So, who's out, Sherwin?
I feel like I probably should be looking at the 16 that are in order to make this judgment.
Well, here, I've got them up right now. Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Martin Truex Jr., duh. Brad Keselowski, Clint Boyer, Joey Logano, Kurt Busch, Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney. Now we're probably going to get into the names that you might talk about. Eric Jones, Austin Dillon, Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Eric Almirola, Jimmy Johnson, Alex Bowman. So the 4 that fail to advance in this round.
I think it's the obvious choices to me. It's the ones that haven't been there before, the ones that don't have experience.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably as much a driver thing as a team thing. So I would say throw Bowman out, throw Almirola out. I say throw Eric Jones out, and I need one more, right? Austin Dillon. Yep, throw him out.
So here's the thing for me. Austin Dillon, I think, is out. Alex Bowman, that's tough. But because this first round we've talked about in years past, this is survival round. This is not about, like, you don't have to. You can do a top 15 finish every week and you're in. You know what I mean?
That's true because we got so damn many of them.
Right. So who's not going to have the top 15 finishes? And to your point, I think that's the Austin Dillon. That's maybe the Bowman. Almirola. Well, Almirola's been, we talked about him.
He's going to be fast at Vegas.
Yeah,
that's probably crappy of me to say Almirola.
But then you have to choose somebody else. Who are you going to choose?
Yeah, but there's 12 drivers ahead of him.
Right. And Eric Jones, didn't he just get second this week at Indy?
Yes, he did.
So,
but strategy.
No,
Indy's a strategy race. It's not a speed race.
I don't want to predict this. This is not Rusty's prediction, y'all. But I want to put a little bit of a spotlight on Truex right now and say, with him not coming back, with how much is that affecting the mind, it affecting the people on a subconscious basis who are working on that car, knowing that, and they're looking for jobs right now, right? Their resumes out there, they're getting some interviews and stuff. Is it possible for him to not make the next round, dare I say?
No, because he's probably going to win at Vegas.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. No, I would, and if he doesn't make the round, I'm not going to say, hey, I called it. I might say I called attention to it.
I understand why you're saying what you're saying. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, but maybe
distractions do matter on race teams.
Do you think their strength overcomes whatever distraction, at least in this first round? Sounds like yes is the answer. I have no reason to not go with the four that you named. Bowman, Almirola, Dillon, and then there's kind of a toss up. Eric Jones. Interestingly, both of us, pretty much almost made it a given that Jimmy will make the next round. What do you think?
I don't know how you couldn't. There's just too much history. He's made the playoff every year there was one.
Yep.
Chase playoff, whatever it is.
Yep.
You just got to believe at some point, like if you're betting in Vegas, so we're going to Vegas, right? You want to put a prop bet down? Does Jimmy make the next round or not? Like, I don't know what that bet looks like from a return, but it's probably a weak return because Vegas probably like, yeah, he pretty much always does that.
Right. And again, with this round being so much of...
it's not that Jimmy necessarily has picked up the pace, but you see Bowman having strong runs. You see even Byron having some pretty decent runs, although, he's run into his fair share of trouble when they screw up on pit road and he's back in 28th and he crashes into somebody. And that's what happens back there. Ask us how we know. We watched Casey do it for 3 years.
Yeah.
But, you just got to figure at some point the best driver in the sport and the best crew chief in the sport are going to hit on something.
Yeah. Although, Southern 500, we watched them come into the pits umpteen times for whatever issue that happened
Whatever they were doing.
But there's something magical, if you will. We've been there. We've been to Hendrick. And it may sound like I'm being, silly or whatever, but there is something magical about that place in that it feels like they could go into this focus mode and suddenly, next thing you know, Jimmy survives this round, wins at Dover, makes it in the third round without even blinking.
Yeah, wins Dover, wins Martinsville.
Holy cow, now you're in.
Now it's done. It's a done deal.
Yeah.
Now you got to beat Jimmy at Homestead, where he's finished first in the points 7 times.
Yeah.
So,
don't count lately, Jimmy out is the point.
Yeah, lately you have to win at Homestead to actually win the trophy, but Jimmy's done that.
Yeah.
He did that 2 years ago.
Yeah. So, fifth period, Jamie McMurray out of the number 1 car next year. The question for the report card is, does the Kurt Busch going to Ganassi deal have any legs, Sherwin?
So I thought it did for a while, but then the SHR people kind of, tossed their hat back in the ring and saying, actually, we would really like to have Kurt back. I think what we're going to see is Kurt at Ganassi, because I think the reason why is that despite his Cup career maybe on the waning end of the new moon, there are opportunities for him to do things with Chip that he wouldn't be able to do in other places, which is, perhaps attempt the Indy 500 again, perhaps run the 24 hours of Le Mans, run the 12 hours at Sebring, be involved in racing outside of Cup and NASCAR.
You bring that's the best argument I've heard yet. The second best argument I've heard is that the Kurt Busch says no comment right now, which, when Kevin Harvick was rumored to go wherever he was going to go, he kept being like, no, that has no legs. There's nothing there. I'm where I'm at. Kevin Harvick's already drove a Chevy. What's he going to do? Or whatever it was. And,
because, Stuart Haas was going to Fords.
Right.
Right. And that was a big deal.
So this one has a little bit more legs. So I give it a pass.
I'm not convinced, and maybe someone will tell me I'm wrong, and that's fine because I don't mind being wrong, but I don't think we have a firm announcement on where Truex is going. We've heard a lot of this is what we think's happening, but I'm still not convinced he's not in the 41 next year.
That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, was somebody that hot? I mean,
it's not going. If it's Cole Custer, they've wasted a season, or it's not Cole Custer, and they're going to collapse the car and wait for another opportunity to run 4, which I don't think they would do.
Not with a free agent Martin Truex Jr. sitting out there.
The performance of the 10 suggests that they can absolutely operate 4 cars at peak.
Yeah.
There's been Kurt to Ganassi talks all the time. The thing is, all right, let's talk about if Kurt doesn't leave SHR. Kurt gets another 1-year contract to drive the 41. Who's in the 1? Is that going to be Hemrick? Is that going to be one of the other younger guys that hadn't spent a lot of time in the 42 in the Xfinity Series? Because there's some guys down there that are really good. Obviously, we think very highly of one.
Yeah,
very highly of one.
Hemrick, I think, would have to get what a deal to go there, and I'm not sure they're.
Well, the South Point sponsorship, I think it would be very challenging for Richard Childress to let go of that sponsorship.
That's what I mean. Like, it would have to be what a deal for him to say, I'm out of RCR, where I'm, essentially got a glide path right now.
Right.
So,
He's right, because Newman's going to be 40 next year, and he's not winning races, and he's not finishing well either.
Right. And he doesn't have all those poles, collected.
He's not winning poles. His career mimics Casey Kane's very closely in that tons of success up front and then very metered success after that.
Yeah. Roger's saying Allgaier to the 1. I think you got to swing harder than Allgaier.
I love the fact that Junior's hollering at the top of his lungs that Allgaier deserves a Cup car. I don't expect Chip to be the one to give it to him. But he does have money. He's got Brandt Tractors, Midwest company, gigantic money. Brandt's one of the modern John. It's a modern John Deere. It's a combine building company. Their tractors sell for $100,000 and $150,000 a piece. So that's a money company, and he's got a great relationship with them that works at the Xfinity Series. We're talking about 5x the amount of money it takes to run a dependable race-winning Cup car.
Yeah.
That's a different animal.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Recess, Sherwin.
Uh-oh.
I wrote down.
Run around outside and throw the football a little bit?
Since we're going, not physically, but since NASCAR is going to Vegas, the time that we went to Vegas, and I don't know if we told the story, or maybe it's been long enough that we've told the story that it bears repeating, of us hitting up the Jack in the Box.
We may have, but it bears repeating. I think it's definitely been long enough.
What
since
year
was
this? 09?
This was
10.
This was late February of 2009.
2009, yep, 2009. My parents were living in Vegas at the time, and me and the wife decided we're going to go out there for whatever, either anniversary or whatever it is. No, not anniversary because it's February. So we were just going out there to visit. And I love Vegas, y'all. I mean, I get caught up in the whole thing. I'm in. I like it.
Your dad loves the hell out of it.
Oh, yeah, he loves it too. So we're having a good old time. We're doing some hiking and stuff. There's awesome hiking and everything to see around there. But there happens to be a NASCAR race in February in Vegas.
10 years ago.
Yeah, 10 years ago there was. And so me and Sherwin decided, and this was our first travel race, right? That was the first
time we got on a plane?
Get on a plane to go.
Oh, without a doubt. I was living in damn Valdosta, Georgia.
Valdosta, you drove to Jacksonville to get on a plane to go to like Houston or Dallas or something, right? Didn't you stop over or something like that?
I can't remember. I thought I was on a nonstop from Jacksonville to Vegas, but I may not have
it might have been. Either way, so Sherwin gets in, and me and Sherwin, Sherwin was living at Valdosta, y'all was like 4.5 hours from Atlanta, and you're still in the state of Georgia. That's how like deep Georgia goes in that direction. But me and him had not caught up in a while because it was February, which means Georgia Tech football would have been done for 3 months. It's probably 3 months since we've seen each other at that point.
Exactly.
So we decide we're going to catch up. So we go over to the Bellagio and into their Keno room. And the reason, you're not about to make no money on Keno, y'all. It's just playing lottery over and over and over again, right? However, it goes slow enough that you can just sit there on $20 and get all these free drinks that they keep coming in with, and catch up with each other and bullspit and stuff. So it's a perfect place to just sit around, hang out with people, bullspit, and put $20 on something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, turns out my numbers hit $60. You know, I put in $20 and I hit 60. I walk out with $60. We're not talking about anything in terms of Vegas money. They're not even looking at this, right? But I hit the $60, and it's time for us to leave. And I've got $60 cash in hand, and we're a little bit hungry. And we hit up the Jack.
And Serena's driving.
And this is the first time that I had ever been to a Jack in the Box because I think there's some around.
Likewise.
Yeah, I think there's some around
we
now.
heard all these good things about Jack in the Box.
So we roll up, y'all, and the menu is the drunk person's Mecca holy grail of a menu. They've got cheese balls, they've got jalapeno poppers, they've got tacos, they've got hamburgers, they've got everything. Taquitos,
corn dogs.
Holy crap! Y'all, we spent $60 in the drive-through at the Jack in the Box, and I'll be damned if we didn't get home and eat every ounce of that.
We made a dent. I guarantee you, we made a dent.
I spent every bit of that.
I think your mom helped us a little bit.
She might have. Who knows? We roll up.
What the hell did y'all come in here with?
Yeah. Well, we got some Jack in the Box.
$60 worth of Jack in the Box.
You want a taco or a jalapeno popper or a hot dog?
What? It's the most diverse fast food menu you have ever seen in your life.
I love it. So what can I say other than we need a Jack in the Box? You know, we talked about it. We got the Bojangles next door. Y'all listen up. Jack in the Box. If Jack in the Box opens next to Bojangles, I might never leave this area ever again. Like this might be the holy grail of fast food.
You might just turn your truck in and say, "I don't even need one of these
Oh
anymore."
yeah, I just walk over there. Yeah. I might just set up a cot or something. Just say, "All right, y'all. Well, I'm too drunk to even walk back home. I'm gonna just sleep here tonight."
Yeah.
So
they need to open up a good country music. Live music bar over there across the street or something.
Oh man, Beast said he had a sourdough Jack tonight. Man, Beast,
I
jealous.
hate you, but I love you.
Yeah, exactly. So, Jack in the Box. Shout out to y'all. Speaking of shout out, Sherwin, it's time to do a little new follower shout out. This is kind of a new segment for us. So, how about I read the first one, you read the second one, I'll read the third one, or whatever. How about that?
Okay.
Sound good? So, new follower shout out. Go Pack Racing at Wolfpack Racer. Big NC State fan, Labonte Brothers, which is totally cool, and the Bush Brothers, and evidently Pat's fan too. Listen, I wore a Tom Brady shirt on this show one time because I lost a bet with Brandon Crowd.
Sucked.
And then for whatever reason, it took me forever to get that jersey back to my brother-in-law, so it hung in the PTM podcast studio right over there for like 4 months.
I damn near set it on fire.
So, you know what? I respect your fandom, but I hope y'all lose all the games. But thank you for following along. Sherwin.
All right, next up is Nathan, and that's at all caps Beaver15. I'd love to know the story behind that.
Yeah.
Beaver! Fan of all things racing. I think you mentioned NASCAR, Indy and F1, and he's from St. Louis. Big hockey fan, the Blues, and baseball, the Cardinals.
Stacy Blake.
Good for him.
At Stacy Blake _5. I don't know which season the 5 came from, but we'll go with Casey Kane there. NASCAR, IndyCar, and Pats fan? Sherwin, what do you do to me?
I don't know what's wrong with how we're getting followed, but Pats fans seem to like what we're doing despite how much crap we talk.
Good for y'all. Thank you for joining. It's all in good fun, except on game day. Then it's out for blood. No, it's cool.
Blood!
All right, Sherwin, it's time to gas it up. Let's see if I've got a sound effect for that. I think I do here. This is totally professional, y'all. So,
all right.
There it is. We already said we're going to Vegas. You wrote off to the land of the secrets, and it took me a half a second when I read it. I said, off to the land of the secrets. Oh, what happens in Vegas and yada, yada, yada. So, yeah, I'm in.
And all the graves in the cornfields and the random places in the desert.
Graves and
the movies have led us to believe are probably true.
I think Casino is my favorite Vegas movie. And then
I don't know how it couldn't be. And then Hangover.
You know what? Closely followed by I've got a thing for and here's the thing. So the National Lampoon's Vegas Vacation, all their vacation movies.
I haven't seen it. I'm a bad fan.
Oh, dude, we got to watch. But everybody in the Griswold family, including Cousin Eddie, have direct what would you call it? Analogs to my family. Like, I can tell you who Clark Griswold is. I can tell you who Eddie is he a Griswold too, I guess? Who Cousin Eddie is. I can tell you who the grandpa
Eddie
is.
The wife's brother, isn't he?
Okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah. So I can tell you who all of those people are in my family. So every time when I was growing up that they would come out with one of, there's only been like 3 of them, maybe, I think 3.
Yeah, 3.
But like, we knew who all the people were. And so in our family, we had a great time watching those movies. So there you go. Casino and National Lampoon's Vegas Vacation are my 2.
Well, so to take it to
Mr. Papa Giorgio is right, Roger.
Yeah, the darkest place possible. I think in terms of like overall like enjoyment of a film and like mentally stimulating, leaving Las Vegas. Holy crap. Remember when we watched that on an afternoon? Like there was like a rain delay in a race or something, and like we ended up watching like an Xfinity race after like the rain delay, but like we're like, all right, we need a movie to watch because we got like 2.5 hours. We don't know how to kill. And it was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and we watched Leaving Las Vegas at your old apartment. And it was like, whoa.
There's movies that are good because they're cinematic wonders, and that's one of them. It happens to be in Vegas, but like that's like Schindler's List or Requiem for a Dream or something. Like those are Traffic or like those are movies you got to see.
Traffic is pretty bonkers.
Yeah, so, I mean, like you got to be in a mood, or you got to be ready for what's coming on those type of movies. Those movies hit hard, and you get, this ain't like a, hey, let's all get drunk and watch, watch Requiem for a Dream. Oh, geez, you're in for it.
Oh, it's one of those ones where I think we both looked at each other about halfway through and like, I don't know if we made the right decision.
Right.
Couldn't we have just watched like The Big Lebowski or Smokey and the Bandit to bring that back up? Like,
well, I mean, you can even bill that movie as like, hey, Nick Cage goes to Vegas and gets real drunk. Like, all right, that sounds good, But
and Elizabeth Shue
she
gets real naked. It's fun.
Yeah, this would be great.
It's not.
And then it's not.
Like, oh, this is like an Oscar-worthy film, right. Which is not an afternoon movie.
Not an afternoon day drinking kind of movie. You're not going shot for shot with Nick Cage on that one. So with that, Sherwin, it's a formality at this point, but let's go ahead and because we've got the sound effect. just so we can hear.
Go ahead and review the picks.
They'll get excited. Yeah. I mean, of course, if you're going to, like you said, you gotta. This is Vegas, baby. Let it ride.
Let it ride.
We gotta go,
craps, dude. You gotta let it ride.
Oh yeah, especially in craps. Shoot, I mean, we're on point. It's time to do it. Nobody's gonna roll 7 at this point. Make it happen, baby. So gotta go, Brad Keselowski. I'm not saying he's like the strongest player here, but he does have the mo. He's got the mo. If you got the mo, especially going in the playoffs, anything can happen here.
Not only that, but he has performed very well at Vegas in the past. It's the kind of racetrack that he's actually quite good at. It's the kind of racetrack where we do see strategy because it is not quite worn enough that you have to take 4 tires every time you pit. So Paul Wolf, we have already said, is the evil genius on strategy, or the modern day evil genius on strategy. We give a lot of credit for that, and he came through in flying colors here at Indy.
No kidding.
So I think that's a great pick, and I'm going to stick with the Penske brand. As I said earlier, I'm going to go with Blaney. He hasn't won. He's got a similar relationship, with the strategy and all that stuff, and he's also fast at 1.5 miles. And, he's Blaney. Like, if anybody's going to have fun in Vegas, it's going to be Blaney.
I don't typically like when people say, what a statement that this would be. But I think it feels worthy in the case of Blaney winning at Vegas, becoming a statement of this is where I belong in the playoffs. Where are y'all at? You know what I'm saying?
I like the way you said that. I really like the way you said that because I think it has a chance to be that. Mm-hmm. And I'm not necessarily saying like, oh, y'all, this is definitely going to happen. But to your point is if Blaney's able to win here after not winning all year and saying, all right, we're showing up the playoffs. We're not, effing around anymore. Mm-hmm. Like we're coming here. We're coming to play for keeps. And, and Blaney's the kind of guy that like, you could definitely see in like a NASCAR spoof of like a Hangover skit.
Yeah.
Like he could be playing, like the cool guy.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, I'm not sure what happened, but I want to race but we got this other problem happening over here and I don't
and the Asian guy's missing again. What do we do?
There's a naked guy that just jumped out of the trunk. I don't know what's going on. Where's Doug?
What is Mike Tyson doing here?
There's a tiger in the bathroom. What's going on?
Oh, crap. Dude.
Ed Helms is like, man, y'all are nuts. I'm missing a tooth.
With that jinx, it is time to close this thing out. This has been a boatload of fun, dude.
More fun than we thought we were going to have.
Right. I love it. Let's close it out. Y'all know what the deal is. PTM Podcast at PTM Podcast and PTMPodcast.com. As always, sitting in this seat, Tailgate Mayor Rusty Wallace at Tailgate Mayor.
And I'm Sherwin at Pregame Engineer and Andrew L. Sherwin on the Instagram. Please go over and check out our website at www.PTMPodcast.com. Email us at PTM@PTMPodcast.com. And, listen on the iTunes. Give us a rating and review. That's the only way we're going to move up the list. And that's how everybody's going to get to see what we're doing. Thank you very much for listening. We love the people that follow live on YouTube. You guys are awesome.
Woo! And we'll talk to y'all next week after Vegas. It's Vegas, baby. Vegas!
We are NASCAR.
You all need a guest. Just saying, love you. Oh man, wait, hey, we were on the hook.
He's mad we didn't have a guest.
Oh, Jumpy Bob just giving us some ish.
Oh, he does. He'll do that.
It's all good. Yeah, thank you for the ish, Jumpy Bob. No, we're it was unfortunate that it didn't work out, but it was also kind of it was almost cool because it's like, this is somebody who actually matters in that, we had in that the Indy race got moved. I'm doing homework now, so Sherwin's got to keep you entertained.
I got to keep y'all entertained. That's right. All right, we're still live on the YouTube.
Yes, sir.
All right, y'all. So here's the deal.
And thank y'all for joining. This has been it's really fun. You know what, Sherwin? There's a little bit less pressure when it's me and you, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I really love having guests on, but every once in a while when it's just us two, like I just kind of roll in. I'm like, oh, me and Sherwin are going to talk NASCAR like we always do, and the reason we started this whole thing was for two idiots to sit here and talk NASCAR.
Yeah, so I got a text from somebody the other day that was like, hey, man, you guys talked a little smack about not having a guest, but you guys alone are pretty fun.
Oh,
and I'm like, oh, man, that's really nice of you to say.
That's humbling.
That's the way we used to do it for a long, long time, and then we went on a roll where, we just never didn't have a guest.
Right.
And now, that's 2 weeks in a row. This is the first time we've had 2 weeks in a row without a guest, y'all. And if I'm going to guess, I would say 70 episodes.
Probably. If not more.
If not more. It may be 100 episodes since we went 2 weeks in a row without a guest. And we did that because we wanted to accommodate the guest this week. If he could come in at the last moment, we were going to try to get him in. But we were not able to do that, so you got us, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And
good
we'll bring
show. Own it. Digging
whatever
it.
next week.
Thank you, JoJo. Yeah. We'll see what next week brings. It's who knows. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. I mean, I think you might. So we're overdue for some of the regular people that you guys have heard on our show multiple times that are awesome contributors to the show.
And they are chomping at the bit to come on and start doing some talking in long form.
There's going to be some, there may be even some national people you might, not necessarily expect, especially the new folks that are watching and listening and all that good stuff, because they probably don't realize that we have such a good relationship with some of these guys. But we're going to have, next week I would expect us to have a guest. And I would expect me to spend the rest of this week figuring out who that's going to be. When you have 7 yeses in the queue and trying to manage all of the schedules and stuff and making sure that all work out.
Saying yes. People keep saying yes. It's a good thing.
Yeah, when people say yes, it starts to get more challenging. And that's why, sometimes you end up when we have the last 2 weeks where we didn't have a guest because there were some yeses, but you didn't want a yes over the top of another yes. And then the schedules get weird, and so why would you jeopardize somebody's spot?
I'm going to close out the YouTube with this. We don't we're on the YouTube, so we get to be a little more colorful and stuff, and it's 9/11 America, fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
So
America, fuck
yeah.
Hey, no, hold on, let's play the can you play the
Can I play it? America
Team America World Police.
I can.
Just a couple of lines of it.
We'll do it right now.
America. Fuck yeah!
Coming again to save the motherfucking day.
Yeah, America. Fuck yeah! Freedom is the only way. Yeah.
Terrorists, your game is through. 'Cause now you have to answer to America. Fuck yeah! Lick my butt and suck on my balls. America. Fuck yeah! What you gonna do when we come for you?
Yeah, the YouTube just got a little bit wild, y'all. That's how it goes.
Tomorrow. Fuck yeah! All right, y'all. See y'all next time. Woo woo! Thanks for joining.